specifically for people in relationships with women, romantic relationships with women, and specifically people in those relationships who have a piece of negative feedback or something that they want to say to their partner that they're pretty sure their partner won't want to hear. So if that is you, this live should help you understand like how to deal with approaching sensitive issues with women. And if you don't know who I am, hi, my name is Diana Bandoh. I am a licensed attorney, I'm a stress management expert, and I love helping people live their best lives. And a huge piece of living your best life is the people who you share it with and the quality of the relationships with those people. And so understanding how to use your nervous system, use your stress response in a way that will help you have better relationships will help you have a better life. And so I got asked by a man, it was a man who dates women, but like I said, this is for anyone who dates women, how to talk to women about, things that are hard to say. And this is someone who had been in a long-term relationship with someone, and there were a handful of things that he had tried to express that were important to him, and his partner just dismissed them, shut them down. And, what ended up happening is he just married someone else, married the next girl. But, likely would still be with that person today if he'd been able to have the conversation in a way that was constructive and that it was heard. I am a former divorce lawyer, and when I was doing divorces, I mostly represented men. And one of the things that I felt was that a lot of the relationships that ended in divorce were absolutely salvageable. But the problem is the couples didn't know how to have the conversations in a way that would have prevented them from ending up in the divorce lawyer's office. So I want to help you tonight. And this is specifically for, the nice guys who just feel like they always come in last. This is like the little cheat codes that will really help you. So, first of all, let's talk about why it can be difficult to tell women things that they don't want to hear. Thank you, Sam. The first is that women are way more likely than men to resort to emotional warfare when they don't like what you're saying. So if you tell a woman something she don't want to hear, rather than say like, I didn't want to hear that or I didn't like that, she is highly likely to attack you and make you out to be a pervert, a problem, a this, a that, the other thing, and then run around to all of her friends or family or whoever and talk about how you're the worst. And now there's like a gang of people who hate you. And all you did was tell the truth. So, emotional warfare. Next is mommy issues. And mommy issues, yes, if you want to send your boyfriend, send him. Mommy issues for men are not what people often think. There are a lot of men, and you don't have to, this is a safe space, you do not have to identify yourself, but there are a lot of men who had mothers that did not treat them well. If you're just being really, really honest, your mom was not a constant source of love and affection and safety. She didn't treat you well. You were abused, you were neglected. If you had a single mom, she might have brought boyfriends around that were either not good to her in front of you or that were abusive to you. And so, like, you just didn't have the type of relationship that would allow you to have healthy attitudes about women. And if you had a mom who shut you down, who yeah, if you just want to have fun with women, then you don't really need to worry about this. This is for people who want to, who are either married or, in serious relationships. But if you had a mom who would get mad at you whenever you asked for things that she didn't want to say things, then oh my gosh, I'm looking at these comments. Thank you. I love your picture. Then it's going to be harder for you to open up and be vulnerable when there's things that you want from your partner and you just don't know how to address it. And then the third reason why it's so hard is ROI. So if you're familiar with the expression, like the juice isn't worth the squeeze, sometimes having that conversation with a woman that is going to upset her isn't worth it. Because either, like, I'm not trying to be here for a long time. I'm just trying to be here for a good time. Or just don't see her as someone that you want to take seriously anyway. So why have the conversation? In those situations, I would say actually spare yourself the headache and heartache and just break up. Like if like it's not someone who it's worth having a serious conversation with, just throw in the towel, walk away. Find someone who is worth, the effort. Sam Nick said, "Are you in a relationship?" I don't really talk much about my personal life on social media. So my response to that is, who's asking and why do they want to know? But yeah, I talk about my professional experience as a life coach, as a lawyer, as a divorce attorney, but not, my life. That's like just one of the boundaries I set. So, yeah, so next, how to do it. So, if you are, like I said, you're seeing a woman and you have something that you want to tell her and you're pretty sure she doesn't want to hear it, here's what you do. Step one is regulate. And that's something I teach inside my private sessions. But what you want to do, if you're going into a conversation with someone where you're going to tell them something that they don't want to hear, is you want to make sure that you are calm, that you are grounded, that you are centered, so that when they kind of react with some wild energy, rather than being activated by it, you're like, I understand what I told you upset you. And if the tables were turned, I probably would be upset too. This is a safe space. I can be a container for your feelings. And just, let it's so funny. Someone said, how happy would you be if someone donated $500? I believe there is a link in my bio where you can make a donation if you want to. And Sam, if you would like to speak personally, you can book a session using one of the links in my bio and we can speak personally then. And once this replay is done, there'll be links in the description box where you can book a session with me that way as well. So, regulate, get grounded, and I will talk about how when I'm done, but I want to get through this list, but that is the first step. Number two, when you have something to say, you want to make sure that you're providing context. So rather than just saying, hey, I want you to lose 20 pounds. Hey, we need to have more sex. Hey, I need you to spend less money or whatever. Whatever you want, whatever conversation you want to have, you need to provide context about why you want to have the conversation, so that she understands, okay, like this is something that's coming up because he wants to have a closer relationship with me. So provide context. What is the reason that you are bringing this up? And like I said at the beginning of this video, what I love to do is help people live their best life. And you can't live your best life if you're in a relationship with someone who is constantly doing something or not doing something that's interfering with your level of satisfaction with that relationship. What is better is for you to have the conversation, give them the opportunity to change, and then you are in a position of power and you can decide whether or not you want to continue and pursue them and knowing that you're going to have to settle, or whether you would rather move on and look for someone else. So provide context. And then before you go into the thing that you want them to know that you think will upset them, start with talking about all of the things that you love about this person. So explain why you're there in the first place. The way that you laugh together, her beauty, her smile, whatever it is. Talk about the things that you love so that this person knows that the thing that you're about to say next isn't coming from an angry place, isn't coming from a judgmental place. It's coming from someone who's all the way in and doesn't want to go anywhere. I have a guy friend who, he just really loves big boobs. And he had a girlfriend. Actually, the way I met him is he was dating one of my friends and he wanted her to get a boob job. Like he was happy, wanted to be with her, just wished her breasts were bigger and he was willing to pay for it. And she did not respond well. They are no longer together. But she, was like, I cannot believe he would have the nerve to even ask me this. And, I saw both of their perspectives. I don't think either was right or wrong. He was just letting her know, hey, this is my preference. And for what it's worth, the next girl he got with had huge boobs. And she was saying she didn't want to have to change her body for a relationship. So guess what? They are not together because they both wanted things that the other one couldn't provide. And that's not a bad outcome. Like, they needed to both be with other people. So start with what you love about them. And then once you have calmed yourself, provided context for the asked, let them know what you love about them, then go into ripping off the Band-Aid and just saying whatever it is that you need to say about what is making you unhappy. Let them know, hey, I need this to change. And, you know, you don't have to necessarily threaten the relationship, but just say, like, this is what I want for my life. This is what I want for my relationships. And these are the changes that I need to see to be happy. So whether it's losing weight, you know, changing the things about your intimate relationship, whether it's differences in the financial situation, whatever it is, let your person know exactly what you're upset about and what you want to see changed. So I talked about step one being regulating yourself. What do I mean by that? I mean that we all, as human beings, we have what's called the autonomic nervous system. The two parts are the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. The sympathetic nervous system is sometimes referred to as the fight or flight response or the stress response. When you're having a conversation with a romantic partner about something that you know will upset them, your stress response turns on. And why does that matter? Because when your stress response is on, when you're in gladiator mode, you are more likely to see it as you versus them, as opposed to you and them together versus the problem. And so rather than thinking, okay, this is something that we can work through together, it becomes a battle that one of you can win. It becomes zero sum, as opposed to it being a way for you to climb the mountain of romantic intimacy and connection. And so, what I want you to do is start by just noticing things like any tension in your body, in your muscles. Start noticing, like, are your thoughts like hyper focused on the past or the future, or are you pretty connected to the present? Notice the rate of your breathing. Is it slow and grounded, or is it pretty shallow? And then pay attention to your heart rate. Is your heart beating really fast, or is it steady? The more slow, grounded, relaxed you are, that's a sign that you are more in that parasympathetic nervous system, the relaxation response. And the more activated, upbeat everything is within you, the more likely it is that your stress response is activated. So if you want to fully understand how to detect when your stress response is activated and how to deactivate it, that's something I do inside of private sessions. But simple things that you can do that work for everyone. Breath work, like literally inhaling and exhaling slowly and deeply, will help deactivate the stress response because it signals to your body that you're safe, that you're not in danger. Also, paying attention to whatever it is that you are believing. So, if you are stressed ever and you're not in physical danger, there's likely a story that you're telling yourself in the background about some bad, terrible thing that's going to happen if you tell the truth. So, think about what that story is. What am I believing? What am I afraid of right now? And replace that with something that's supportive. So, the story might be, no one loves me. I'm always going to end up alone. And, you know, after I have this conversation, I'm just going to end up alone. And the better conversation would be, or belief would be, some people love me and I'm going to end up where I need to be. And this person either is going to respect my preferences and love me enough to want me to be happy, or they won't. And we're going to find out. So just check your whatever it is that you're believing, because that will directly impact your ability to tell the truth in the situation. So let me just look at my notes. Those are all my tips about how to have a conversation with a woman about something she does not want to hear, and some best practices to help it be super successful. So if you want one-on-one help with a specific situation you're having, you want one-on-one help with avoiding needing to hire a divorce attorney because of something that's going on in your marriage that's making you unhappy, then use the links in my bio or the links in the description box once this is posted to book a one-on-one session with me, and I will walk you through, you know, what you need to do to successfully get to the other side of this. Whether the other side is getting a divorce or staying together, I don't know. But I can tell you that there is a good way and a bad way to do literally everything in life. And by starting by being regulated, grounded, letting the person know that you love them and that you want to be with them, you increase your chances of having a successful conversation. So I hope that was helpful. And if I haven't met you, if I don't know who you are, please introduce yourself to me in the comments. I'd love to get to know more about you, where you're watching from. And if there are any questions or other topics you'd like to hear me discuss, through the lens of how regulating your nervous system can help you have better relationships. And I would love to hear about that in the comments as well. So let me know, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.